Hi everyone, so today I'm going to be filming a video on 5 pros and 5 cons that I wish I would have considered before submitting my intent to register at UC Berkeley. I know that freshman admission decisions were released last week and transfer decisions will be released soon as well. So people are definitely looking to the internet and YouTube to make a more informed decision. So I thought that filming this video at this point in time would be really useful to all the people who are trying to decide which college they want to go to. If this video seems interesting to you, please keep watching, and if you like it, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please subscribe down below, and let's get into the video. So the first thing that I wish I would have known before I decided to go to Berkeley is that the surrounding area around the campus is pretty sketchy. When I say that, I mean 3 to 4 times a week I'll wake up in the morning with a NICSI alert, which is our police warning system, with an email regarding sexual assault, attempted robbery, aggravated assault. Most of these happen in the areas surrounding the campus, but some of them also occur directly on the campus. And I wish I would have been a little bit more cognizant of this. Your safety should be your top priority in choosing a school. You shouldn't go to a school where you do not feel safe. And Berkeley does have certain programs to try to alleviate a bit of this. They have Bear Walk, where people will walk you around at night, kind of an escort type of program. They also have night safety shuttles, which all of those are awesome amenities, but if you miss the bus and you really need to get home, you're gonna have to walk, and so it's something definitely to be aware of. So the second thing that I think everyone should consider is the housing situation. At Berkeley in particular, the housing crisis is absolutely awful. I think freshman admits are guaranteed housing, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But after you are a freshman, you're not necessarily going to be guaranteed any room. So you are either going to be in the on-campus housing lottery system, or you're going to have to seek housing off-campus in an apartment. And I know firsthand that these searches are very stressful, and sometimes people don't get anywhere where they actually really were looking. I know that I ended up in an apartment after searching for about 4 or 5 months, and I ended up paying $700 per month to sleep on the top bunk of a bunk bed. So if you grew up in the Bay Area, or you have someone you know who lives over here and you have the luxury of staying with them, that's definitely a viable option. But if you are not so lucky, you're going to have to join into the massive housing search that all of us UC Berkeley students are all too familiar with. The third thing that I think that incoming students should consider is that Berkeley holds a very competitive vibe. So all of you who got into Berkeley out of high school or as a transfer student, you know how competitive and hard it is to get into the school. However, this competitive vibe doesn't stop when you get into the school. It continues as you walk on campus every single day. I think all of us as UC Berkeley students are very aware of this. Though it's something that we definitely get used to, it doesn't always make you feel very great. It doesn't necessarily always seem like a very supportive atmosphere. There are some very cutthroat majors, and this is not a rumor. There are a lot of people who try to make videos debunking this, but it's not a rumor. It happens all the time. I've heard many stories of students sharing Google Docs with vocabulary words written out to review for midterm or final, and other students coming in and literally erasing all of the work. So even if there is a way to recover it, it just shows you that there are some students who are willing to push the boundaries, and this definitely happens at other universities, but Berkeley is especially known for it, and it's not a rumor. It's definitely very true, and it's something that should be considered. And in order to account for this, I suggest visiting the campus, and not just visiting on Cal Day, which obviously when you come to Cal Day, people are going to be heavily intoxicated and having a lot more fun than they would normally, and you might get the vibe that Berkeley is not all that stressful, which is just not accurate. So I would definitely suggest, yeah, come on Cal Day, but also come on a normal weekday so that you kind of get the idea of what it's actually like to be on the campus on a daily basis and the stress level throughout the entire campus. Number 4 kind of goes along with that. It's just knowing your program, the classes, and the competition within the field of study. So different fields of study are going to have different levels of competition. So MCP, or molecular and cell biology, is known for being extremely cutthroat. Same thing with CS, Haas, which is the business school. Different programs have different levels of competition, and that's something that you should really be aware of and do your research on. I personally am in the College of Natural Resources, and I don't experience too much of the competitive nature of the students because I feel like as a smaller college on campus, we're all kind of in it together and we're very encouraging as a group overall. So that's something that you should definitely research and be aware of. In addition, definitely look at the classes that are offered. Just look at the Berkeley class schedule or the class offerings and look through them and see if there are classes that are really interesting to you and compare them with the other schools that you get into, because I personally wish I would have looked further into the course offerings at the other schools that I was accepted into before coming to Berkeley, because Berkeley has a lot of awesome classes, but I think that through the name I definitely discounted the other universities that I was accepted to, and they definitely had more applicable classes to the field of study that I now want to enter into. So that's something that should definitely be considered. The final thing that I think that should be considered is that Berkeley has an extreme grade deflation. So if you don't know what grade deflation is, I'm going to try to explain it the best that I possibly can. A lot of courses are graded on curves. So where you would normally earn an A or a B, you may actually get a much lower grade based on the curve. Where you would normally get an A at another school, you might end up with a B or a C just because of the level of competition that is kind of pushed forth by some professors and also just their grading skills. So that's something definitely to consider, especially if you're going to apply to med school or law school or some sort of higher education where your GPA is really essential. So definitely take that into account when deciding whether or not to submit your intent to register to Berkeley. Now, on to the positive things. Let me think of some. I'm just kidding. The first thing that is definitely positive about going to Berkeley is that the professors are all extremely sensitive and accommodating. If you have certain circumstances that may affect your ability to perform or your ability to get an assignment in on time, a lot of professors are very open to accommodating your specific needs if you reach out to them and you talk to them about it. The second positive of going to UC Berkeley is that the professors are the top of their field. I remember being in discussion section last week reading an article, and I looked at the authors, and my conservation biology professor was one of the authors in the paper, and I just remember sitting there like, that's so awesome that I'm being taught by someone who is so active in their field and is considered an expert in their field. And I know that this is true for all fields of study across the entire campus. I've had such good experiences with all of them. The third positive about attending UC Berkeley is the area, and I know that earlier I talked about how the area around Berkeley is sketchy, but I kind of mean in general the entire Bay Area. So you're right next to the Silicon Valley, you're next to San Francisco, and just you're in the vicinity of so many well-established companies and startups that you have an abundance of opportunities to apply for internships or just go in and talk to these experts in their fields. The fourth thing that I think that you should consider is that by coming into the family at UC Berkeley, you are joining a wealth of students who are extremely motivated to go out and affect change in the world. Berkeley, from my experience, does not really generally offer the contemporary college experience. By coming to Berkeley, you are joining thousands of other students who are really, really motivated to go forth and do something and to make a change. The last positive thing that I'm going to be discussing is definitely the name. And honestly, the name is a blessing and it's a curse. It's a curse because it places so much responsibility on you, and there's such a weight to the name and such an expectation that follows with it. A lot of people expect so much more of UC Berkeley students, and there's a lot of media attention around Berkeley and a lot of preconceived notions about the students here. It can definitely affect the students in a negative way, but overall people recognize it. Name recognition is a huge thing in employment. It's reliable, people know it, it's the #1 public university in the entire world. Definitely put weight into the name, but don't let the name become your only factor in deciding. Don't just let the name lead you to the school. So that is the end of my video on the pros and cons of attending UC Berkeley. If you guys like the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please subscribe down below. I make videos every week. If you like this type of video, go ahead and leave a comment down below. Let me know what you want to see next. If you have more questions that you want answered, I can definitely make a college Q&A. Alright guys, I hope you have an awesome week and I'll see you next time. Bye!